Namaskar viewers, hello and welcome to Sansad TV. I'm Tina Jha, you're watching Perspective. On the show today, we focus on the extraordinary transformation in India's defence sector. A little over a decade ago, our defence manufacturing was limited in scope, heavily reliant on imports and lacked the scale to match its strategic ambitions. But today, we're looking at a transformed landscape, confident, self-reliant and innovation-driven. With a defence budget that has more than doubled, rising from 2.53 lakh crore rupees in 2013-14 to 6.81 lakh crore rupees in 2025-26. India's vision is clear: to build a strong and secure military backed by indigenous might. The numbers clearly tell the story of this intention and transformation in the past decade. India recorded its highest ever defence production at 1.27 lakh crore rupees in 23-24, a staggering 174% jump since 2014-15. The defence exports, well, they've skyrocketed from just 686 crore rupees to over 23,000 crore rupees in just a little over a decade. From 2 defence industrial corridors to 5,500 indigenization-focused items, from innovation-driven contracts to a thriving private sector contribution. This is nothing short of a mission that we are on. And now, with Defence Minister Rajnath Singh setting an ambitious target of 3 lakh crore rupees in defence production by 2029, India has its eyes firmly set on the future. So on the program today, we'll discuss the impact and the transformation in the defence sector in the past decade, also the road ahead for a nation determined to be Atmanirbhar in every sense. Joining us are 2 distinguished guests. So let me begin the program by introducing them to you. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, retired, former DG Infantry and India's Siachen hero. General Kulkarni, glad to have you with us once again on Sansad TV. Welcome to the program. Also delighted to welcome Group Captain Dr. Rajiv Kumar Narang. He's a Senior Fellow at the Manohar Parrikar Institute for Defence Studies and Analysis. Dr. Narang, welcome to Sansad TV. Delighted to have you with us on this broadcast as well. So, General Kulkarni, allow me to begin the program with you. So, India's defence sector has witnessed an extraordinary transformation that we're talking about over the last 11 years. The numbers point to that transformation. What was once limited in scale and ambition has grown into a confident, self-reliant ecosystem. What, according to you, is driving this transformative shift?
Thank you very much, Tina, at the very outset, and always a pleasure to be on your program. There is a saying, Shakti mein shanti ho, usi mein hai pragati. Until and unless you get to have relatively strong, you just cannot become economically strong. And if you're economically strong, relatively strong, you get automatically technologically strong, and all of it makes you a nation to be seen as a real, something to be looked at. And that is what gives confidence to the nation, confidence to everyone in and around that yes, it is this until and unless we are self-sufficient, Atmanirbhar in matters of defense, and all of it, we've seen it now. Well, we would have started off not knowing what would happen with Russia and Ukraine. We didn't know what would happen with Israel and Gaza. We didn't know what the parties are going to be doing after what they did in Pahalgam or even before that. So until and unless you were on the right track, you would have never been able to come out with absolutely flying colors and all of it seen in the news. That was possible because the slow and steady Atmanirbhar, like what you stated very clearly in your entire introduction, what we were in 2014-15 to what we are in 2025-26 and what we intend to be in 2029 and then of course finally Viksit Bharat. So until and unless we are Atmanirbhar in all fields, let's take one by one also as we go along the program, whether it is in terms of your aircraft carriers, be it in terms of manufacturing of your own aircraft, light combat aircraft, your helicopters, be it tanks, be it missiles, be it small arms, be it bulletproof jackets, be it all kinds of comfort items that we intend to do, and then what you rightly said, to defense corridors and export. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. If there's something that should be able to, we can all take pride in, is and having an export of just about 1,900 crore to begin with in sometime around 2014-15 to over 23,000 crores and aiming to having 50,000 crores by 2029 is indicative that how strong we have come, what it means to be made in India, what it means to be made in India, and how technologically we're able to absorb all of it, and then be able to this indigenization we're talking about. Until and unless we are Atmanirbhar, and nobody, let me be honest with you, Tina, the battle or the wars to be fought are by India and India alone. Sindoor has clearly indicated who are your friends, who are not your friends. I won't use the word enemy, but you know who are your friends, who are not your friends. So until and unless we had used all that we have and able to absorb the technology that we took in, it would have been virtually impossible. The current missile, see the BrahMos, you heard the Prime Minister of Pakistan speak of BrahMos in a manner that is almost shivering to the extent in Kazakhstan, when he said that Bharat ne BrahMos theka. So that is something that was, they couldn't believe it. And you saw how the Chinese decided to give a complete cover to Pakistan, failed, and that's how we could penetrate, and that is how we could demolish and destroy the 11 air bases. That's how we could demolish the terrorist infrastructure over there, and much more that we got to know later. So that is what is indicator of having your own technology, and until and unless we are strong in matters of defense, we cannot grow economically. And to be able to defend your territory and the sovereignty of the nation, it's important, absolutely important to be Atmanirbhar in all matters concerning defense. That gives us confidence to be a nation that is going to be the third largest economy in another 2 years.
Certainly, and how we can accelerate this momentum is something that will come back to you, General Kulkarni, in just a bit. Let me also get in Dr. Narang into the discussion. So, Dr. Narang, a decade of record-breaking production in defense, a surge in defense exports, targeted investments and landmark defense contracts. The results, at least in the last 11 years, have been striking and very positive. What would how would you define or describe as the most defining policy or maybe a reformative measure that has brought about this transformation that we are talking about today?
Tina, what you would have seen that in this war, India did not have to look for its friends or friendly countries to get the weapons. India fought this war with its own capabilities, while wherever it had collaborated in the peacetime, that paid the dividends during this of Sindoor. You would have seen this is the first war where drones did not make such a difference. While the threat was imminent, it was visible. Pakistan launched hundreds of drones, and this was the only war where all the drones we were able to neutralize by using indigenous systems like as old as L-70 guns, Zu-23 guns, and indigenous missiles like Akash and many other systems. Now, that would not have been possible if you talk about the policy reforms. I think it was the innovations for defense excellence launched by the Defence Innovation Organization, Meher Baba Swarm competition launched by the Air Force, and procurement reforms by indigenous design, development and manufacturing, IDDM procurement policies of the government of India. And now this Sindoor has demonstrated capabilities of indigenous systems. It would have certainly given our developers an opportunity to refine, understand the strengths and challenges. And the world would look at these weapons as an opportunity to buy from India, because these are proven systems which many countries would be interested in buying that. And as far as our own policy makers are concerned, they would be learning, taking lessons from these, and looking at fine-tuning their policy structures and mechanisms. Future threat is going to be even more complex. We expect more of swarm drones happening, man-unmanned teamings, autonomous systems, hypersonic systems, space and near space systems. And remember, the kind of collaboration our neighbors are doing, like Pakistan, China, Turkey, Pakistan, and many other such threats which we are likely to see in future. So I think future, the way we have taken lessons, our adversaries would have also taken their lessons. We have to be more capable in future. 5 essential capabilities which I think we need to look at in future is AI-led automated encrypted and network systems, smart and miniaturized munitions, miniaturized sensors, high accuracy, assured neutralization, counter swarm drone air defense systems, and man-unmanned teaming land, air and naval system. So future will be talking about AI, automation, networking, encryption, miniaturization, and smart technologies.
Absolutely. Going forth, India needs to work on secure and scalable technologies, looking at the changing nature of the warfare. But that's something that I'll hold on for a little while, General Kulkarni. But I'll take on the point that Dr. Narang made about developing India's own capabilities. The fact that we did not look at any of our friends while engaging with Pakistan during Operation Sindoor. So, as someone who served in high altitude areas like Siachen, how do you see India's capabilities now having improved or improving in places like Siachen, also in Ladakh, over the past decade? Have, according to you, made in India technologies made it easier for our soldiers to survive, in fact, also operate better in hostile extreme conditions? How do you see that transition having taken place?
100%, yeah. Tremendous amount of progress. You can't imagine the kind of infrastructure that has come, the kind of comfort levels that have gone up, the kind of equipment that has come. We saw all of it, and that is the reason how and why we stood up to China in Galwan. Had it not been our continuous process of being able to do what we have done and able to, until and unless we absorb technology, we start manufacturing, and then those lists keep coming, like you said, over 5,500 items to be manufactured indigenously. We are almost manufacturing 70% of our production indigenously. We have almost utilizing 75% of our budget for capital procurement. All of it, and so many technological changes have taken place, so many bureaucratic hurdles that were there have been taken care of. How much important the CDS has come up to ensure that matters, military are speeded up, how the synergy between the three services, all of it counts a lot. And that is one of the reasons why, irrespective whether it is along the LAC, whether it is along the LOC, or whether it is fighting the terror, anywhere and everywhere, whether it is in terms of communication, whether it is in terms of equipment that we have, whether it is in terms of cyber that we need to have, even taking satellites in the space is concerned. One can imagine there are 11,000 satellites of the Americans. There are over 7,000 satellites of the Russians. There are over 5,000 plus satellites of the Chinese. We have about 200 plus and almost about 37, 39 satellites in the geostationary orbit. They require 52 of them. So there's so much because all of it gives them the ability for surveillance, gives them the ability to be able to keep a strict vigilance of what's going on. And all of it is available to Pakistan, our immediate adversary and enemy, at no cost, because today it is not, we would say, two fronts, one front Pakistan and the other front China. It's one front. Both of them are going to be fighting against India together in some form or the other. So we've got to take care of these people also. So it's very important that until and unless we ensure, and the kind of transformation that the infrastructure has been a huge boost in terms of and ensuring. Tunneling has improved, laying of road infrastructure has improved, the living conditions have improved, the weaponry has improved, the ammunition manufacturing has improved. What Narang was talking about, we have loitering ammunition, we have all kinds of ammunition which are there, surface-to-surface missiles, surface-to-air missiles, we have ballistic missiles taking place, we have hypersonic, supersonic, all of it. So this is indicated that yes, India means business and India can defend itself, and that's the most important thing that also causes jealousy to so many countries in the world. And that is one of the reasons why you find the people, the Europeans and all over are looking at India very differently, because they feel, wow, this country is on its own. They're becoming the third largest economy, growing militarily, absorbing technology, and there it is. And therefore, there's so much that we've done, and we need to do far more than what we are doing first in terms, like you rightly brought out, artificial intelligence, in terms of cyber, in terms of space, in terms of computing, and everything, until and unless we are there. That is how AD, the air defense, that we probably didn't realize what potential. Just see the Akash Tir. Look at the kind of missiles that we fire. Look at the kind of internal weapons that we use, whether it was for anti-drone or even bringing down the missiles and all of it in this Sindoor, indicative that until and unless we are able to absorb technology, they are able to execute technology, and be able to see to it that they are able to break through the enemy's defense. And that is where I think we have actually been able to show, and all the more reason why now we need to be entirely on our own. We should not expect anything coming to us from anywhere. We are good, we will absorb. If some friends do come forward to help us, by all means, yes, but otherwise, we have to be on our own. And that is where the importance of Atmanirbhar is a must.
Right, right. Before we, go ahead and discuss how the transition from buyer to exporter has happened also in the last 1 decade, a related question, Dr. Narang, on Atmanirbhar initiatives in the defence sector. There have been policies like the DAP 2020, initiatives like IDEX. How do you assess the maturity of India's R&D and private defence industrial base, and how do you expect them to perhaps synergize better looking at the threats? Because as General Kulkarni rightly said, the warfare has evolved, and it's no longer the two-front war. It's two enemies having joined hands together, and we're looking at that aspect as well. Also down south, we have to cater to the long coastline that we have, and in the wake of all of these threats, we would expect better synergy, at least when it comes to strengthening our defense manufacturing.
So if you look at the private sector, Meher Baba Swarm competition made a transformative change when India developed a swarm technology. If we had spoken about 5 years ago on this subject or 8 years ago, people were not talking about swarm technology in India, and that was made possible because Indian Air Force launched Meher Baba Swarm technology, and it was a futuristic technology. It was not a technology which existed in the world. And Air Force took the mantle, and we are paying we really gained the dividends when we were able to demonstrate some of these capabilities to our adversaries. And remember, many of our loitering munitions we used were indigenous. They were the outcome of IDEX and Meher Baba Swarm competition. Similarly, IDDM initiatives of the Government of India under the DAP 2020. These are the initiatives which are paying dividends. Now, having seen that, where we need to look at future, I think 11 critical technologies which are in the development phase, we must ensure, accelerate and expedite. They are like civil military unmanned traffic management system. I think that is one area we need to focus very, very seriously on: remote tracking or IFF capabilities, combat aerial teaming system, high altitude pseudo satellite, remote pilot strike aircraft, our mail aircraft like Archer engine, Tapas, naval fighter. I think that fighter decision is pending, and we must expedite. High Hindustan lead-in fighter trainer and AMCA. We need to have optionally manned and man-unmanned teaming capabilities, because we have seen how man-unmanned teaming has played a critical role now. Our aero engine, afterburner Kaveri engine for the LCA Mark 1, I think that will be critical. High altitude, pseudo satellites, high altitude wind tunnels, flight test bed. In fact, in future, if we have to really meet the threat of swarm drones, we may be requiring helicopters equipped with counter drone swarm capabilities. And also, we should not forget that Saras Mark II and regional transport aircraft, they could provide us capability to have a regional transport capabilities. And I think 4 critical defense reforms we must not forget, because 2025 has been declared as a year of defense reforms. I think research and development in the Department of Military Affairs had got integrated the defense staff, and upgradation of design directorates of Indian Army, Indian Air Force and Indian Navy from design directorates to research and development directorates will be critical. I think we also need to get techno-financial experts in the defense finance. If you have seen many projects, we have a challenge of making the projects in time. So our techno-finance experts, I think not only in defense finance, I think we can even look at our administrative service. And probably last and most important part, we may look at a Defense and Aeronautics Commission to bring the synergy and military-civil technology fusion in various technologies which are dual use. And we could be reaping rich dividends in the times to come, because they will not only help in becoming self-reliant, they will increase our potential, they will increase our industrial capability, and probably economic growth of country will have a significant impact through these initiatives. And probably our even GDP growth will be dependent in the times to come. And our Viksit Bharat mission will be better achieved if we are able to expedite and ensure timely completion of a lot of indigenous projects and instituting reforms in the defense as well as in the civil aeronautics sectors.
Absolutely.
Tina?
So while there is a lot that can be done as far as the dual-use technologies and civil-military fusion is concerned, Dr. Narang, they've also been, we've spoken about the series of transformative initiatives which we have undertaken over the last 10 years aimed at bolstering the country's defense production capabilities, achieving self-reliance. Let's also now talk about another remarkable transition that has happened. India has become an arms exporter from a buyer that it was until a few years ago. We are now exporting defense equipment to over 85 countries. What, according to you, are the strategic implications of this transition that India has had from a major importer until a decade ago to now an emerging exporter? We've set new targets of defense exports by the year 2029. Also, how can we sustain and scale this momentum? The numbers so far have been really good. They've soared to new highs. We've set a new target as well. But what's important going forward is we need to sustain this momentum.
So I think we have enormous potential. If you just look at the aeronautics sector, we are not only making helicopters, we are making fighters, we are making trainers, and we are going to make transport aircraft. But some of the critical systems, I think, if we focus on, let's say, aero engines, some of the sensors and payloads. And remember, Indian government has also taken a conscious decision where our government is paying special attention how to facilitate export to the friendly foreign countries. India has also given letter of credit to some of the countries. India has also, made our defense attaches and the embassy staff more active in sensitizing our friendly foreign countries and also helping them understand what Indian capability exists. And if you look at some of the, interest shown by some of the leading countries, including some Western countries, they have come and really felt they were very inquisitive on getting some of the indigenous systems being developed by the Indian defense industry. And if you see collaboration now, it's happening not only with the public sector, many of the foreign entities are collaborating with our startups. If you see Indus Initiatives, which is an innovation initiative between India and US, they have collaborating with our startups to develop futuristic technologies. Similarly, other countries have shown similar interest. And that indicates probably capability of our industry, both by the public sector as well as by the private sector, to develop technologies which not only meet India's requirement, but they can stand the global scrutiny. Now, if you look at the gun which is developed by DRDO and Bharat Forge, that is one of the most advanced guns. Pinaka rockets, which have one of the surprising, very accurate, long ranges. Similarly, many such systems we have developed, which probably in the times to come will take India to the next level. And if you see the kind of interest shown in missiles developed by Indian scientists, some of the radars which are developed by DRDO, these are all indicators. Counter-drone systems developed by our public and private sector entities, I think they all are indicating bright future for India. But we must not forget that wherever critical technologies are there, wherever critical reforms are there, wherever we have to invest in creating an ecosystem, and wherever we have to create facilities for export orientation, I think we should not forget that. We must standardize, bring more standardization, greater focus on Indian standards. Certifications have to come up, and futuristic technology we have to adopt in a proactive manner. There is an enormous potential in the both public sector and the private sector. Let's not forget the significance of any of these. Both can play an important role in taking India from being an importer now transitional. India is in a transition mode from reducing the import. In times to come, I think we will develop world-class systems. Some of them have proven in this recent war. I think more are just about the corner, which probably will come up soon. But we should not become casual, or we should not become relaxed in our approach. We must focus on critical technologies, and I'm sure we will do well in these times to come.
Absolutely. There's given our geography and the hostile neighbors, we need to always be on guard and be alert. But General Kulkarni, you've served on the front line for so many years, now as an army veteran, as a defense expert. How do you see India's shift? First, of course, towards Atmanirbharta in defense, the kind of thrust that we've seen, and also record defense production, something that we've seen soar in the last decade, but particularly after Operation Sindoor, the kind of defense demand that we're seeing from other countries. How do you see that having altered the strategic mind of the armed forces? Can we say that there is a growing confidence in domestically produced equipment?
Definitely. There is a huge sea change in how a soldier looks at his own. He loves, every soldier would like to see and be equipped with made in India, make in India. And that which stays is reliability is the most important thing. For even a soldier, if he has a weapon which is made in India and he presses the trigger and it fires, he's extremely happy. If it's accurate, it's so much better for him. Because what he's looking at, any equipment that he will be able to adapt it. Nobody should be able to tell him or turn around and he feels that no, that particular equipment was better than that country. Because today we are doing so much of, participating in exercises with foreign countries. And whenever we participate in exercises with foreign countries, all of those people bring their own equipment, be it small arms, generally small arms only with the army that they are interacting with. And they also fire. We also fire their equipment. They also fire their equipment. So that they also see that, look, the equipment that probably they may have come for an exercise a few years back, and the same soldiers got an opportunity to come again and see. And he finds, wow, the personal weapon has improved. His entire confidence level has improved. Look at the way his turnout has improved. Look at the way he stands, speaks confidently has improved. All of it, small things count a lot to be able to convey that, look, this is a country which has now arrived. And therefore, that the confidence that you get, it's very important. So when everybody is dealing, if it is a laptop or a computer or on a mobile, you find most of our jawans are now absolutely adapt. You don't need to tell them, we know exactly how to go about it. They also see that these people have absorbed technology. They also understand that this is something which India is not what they saw. Even I have retired 10 years back. And if I were to see our jawans today, the way they talk, the way they communicate, the way they handle the technology, the way they adapt the technology, is clearly indicative. Whoever thought that in just less than 90 hours, we would be able to bring Pakistan down on the knees, again a non-contact.
Absolutely, and that's why, General Kulkarni, though the time is running out, I would like to take this one last question from you. We've spoken about integrating technologies at the same time, what more can be done to enhance our indigenous defense production and the exports. But what I would like to hear from you is, what more can we do going forth to integrate the experience of veterans like yourselves into defense policy, innovation mentoring, battlefield simulations, particularly to address those who are on the planning side, but also those who are now on the front line?
That's the most important thing what you just said. It's very, very important. Not that we need to have, not that we were talking mind. We need to meet timelines, and in which all these veterans must be absorbed, totally involved in it, and ensure timelines are met. Because anything delivered late is of no use whatsoever. So it's that, and for delivery of timeline, it's not that I would use a rather a crude word that a danda has to be given, but it's very essential that people must be told, look, this particular technology has to be delivered, it has to be tested. The GSPs have to stick to a particular timeline, we finish it off by that. And therefore, public-private partnerships are there. Samarthya is there, IDEX is there, you find IITs, so many people involved with it, all of it. I think they must become sort of be able to add on to the synergy which now seems in India all over. And therefore, the veterans can work towards it to ensure that synergy is maintained, that credibility is maintained, that ensuring that the technology is one up or the other. Until and unless the veterans must ensure that all of the absorption that is being there, all of it that is being seen, we must work to able to synergize it, able to take everybody along and ensure what is required, what is coming, and what more can be done. And that can best be done by veterans who are reading, who are writing, and they ensuring that the GSQRs that are there are all translated on ground and meet the requirements of the futuristic warfare. And if we do not meet the requirements of the futuristic, whoever thought it is, I did not think 10 years back when I retired that what I saw in Sindhu is would happening, a totally non-contact. In 90 hours, the country just gives it this. What is that indicative of? That the nation, what the CDS himself said, 48 hours they were all set to fight, and within 8 hours they all crumbled. So that is indicator that yes, we have arrived, but the technology, the sustenance has to be done. And that's where I think the real thrust lies. And we are ahead. We should continue to remain ahead. Take everybody along, public, private, academia. People, the Navy started off very well with designing. Air Force is miles ahead in technology. Army has now got its own design bureau. So all of them, the DRDO is there, the ISRO is there. All of it has to be there, ensuring together that we all work in one thing, and to ensure for which the CDS is there. The CDS has to ensure that all these departments and functioning ahead are to move in, convened in, because everything matters. Even in ISRO, satellite and the geostationary matters to be able to give you vigilance, to be able to give you communication, to be able to help you in your surveillance, and give you all info from the enemy. So this is very important that we all work as one team and ensure that India finds to be the third largest country, economy in the world with pride and the ability to defend ourselves on our own, total indigenization, total Atmanirbhar.
Certainly. So even though our defense journey over the past decade has been defined by bold decisions, by strategic foresight and unwavering resolve, something that we've discussed over the course of the program, what is required is that we need to sustain that momentum, accelerate the momentum to achieve the larger goal of becoming a developed India by 2047. So with that, we'll have to wrap up the conversation. Thank you once again, General Kulkarni, Dr. Narang, for joining us on the program and sharing your insights. And thank you very much to you viewers as well for your time.